Hello, this is William with another video for Battle of Souls. I am the co-founder and CEO, also co-creator of the Battle of Souls trading card game. This video right here is to explain the rules of Battle of Souls so that you can have a deep understanding of how to play the big game. Now, in the box that comes with the for the game, you get the deck box right here. On the back of it, you have your rules. This is your rule box right here. In the rule book, it explains all the details about the game, which I'm going to kind of go over in shortly today. So, general moves, first of all, is the deck size. The deck size in the rule book says 50 cards to 80 cards, but the new deck size is now 40 cards to 80 cards. So when you get one of the starter decks, then you'll get 54 cards inside that deck, so it means you automatically have 14 card extra that you can set aside for a side deck. Speaking of the side deck is anywhere from 0 to 15 cards. The win condition in Battle of Souls is to be the first player to obtain 16,000 soul points. And the way you do this is by dealing damage to your opponent's soul points. For every point of damage that you deal to your opponent's soul points, you gain that many soul points. And just so you know, glossary term, the soul points is your life points. Another win condition is to be the last player to be able to still draw from their deck. In other words, if your opponents all deck out, which means they can no longer draw from their decks, they are eliminated from the game, and therefore you will win. A couple of things that you will need to have: a coin, some dice. These will help with keeping track of counters. For example, when one of your fighters gets a kill, you put a dice in there to represent a kill counter. Okay. We also have a smartphone app which will allow you to easily track your soul points, or you can use a calculator to do the same thing. The soul points will rapidly change throughout the whole entire battle, so putting on paper can be a little bit more difficult than using the calculator or one of our apps on the Google Play Store. With the card zones, so your playmat, we have our own playmat that we use for conventions. This is one of it right here. So the playmat, you have your slots for as far as the game mat is concerned. So the first thing is, on the left side over here, you have your deck, which you can't see. There you go. So you have your deck. That's where your deck's going to go. Now, of course, you can go ahead and place your cards wherever you want on the map, but on your play field. But this will basically let you know how many cards of each that you can have on the field and the general placement for them. So down here at the bottom, you have your slots for your tactic cards and your equipment cards. There are a total of six slots for that area. And then you have your fighter slots for your warriors or your fighters. There can be a total of 5 of those in the area. Okay. You have your slot over here for your battlefield card, and then you have your discards over here on the other side. Okay. This is basically what your playmat's going to look like. 6 slots or 6 spots for equipment cards and tactic cards, which you can play face down if they're an equipment card, or you can play it face up, or you can play it face down if it's a tactic card. You can play an equipment card face down if you like first, or play it face up, or where you activate any of your tactic cards on the field. As far as the other slots concerned, there can only be one legendary warrior on your side of the field at any time, which I have right here. If you have another legendary warrior you want to put out into play, you're not able to do so unless your other legendary warrior is destroyed. Okay. Okay. Now, as far as the cards are concerned, I'm going to put it really close so you can see it. Let's bring it down. Each card, let's do a black card. Each card consists of the card name, the card type, you have your center image. If they have an effect, you see it right here. This particular one doesn't have an effect, whereas this one does. So you can see the difference between the two. The symbol right here can tell you what type of card it is. Samurai, Viking, Aztec warriors right now, and later on we'll have other ones, and each one will have their own symbol. You have a set number right here, which will allow you to look up that card inside the card database, which is another app we have on a smartphone. You have your attack value, you have your rest value, and then you have another code number here that you can also look up that card inside of the card database. For your equipment cards, you have your name, the type, equipment, the symbol for the equipment, the picture, the effect, and that's it for this. And then of course you still have the set number and the card number as well, or the card type as well, or the code number, sorry. For the tactic cards, it's a different color cards, kind of yellow, kind of like a yellow ghost card. You have your symbol, tactic, your name, symbol, type of card, center picture, and your effect. Same thing, set number and your code number. For battlefield cards, they're green. You're going to have your name, the type of card, the symbol, picture, and effect. Set number, code number. Okay. During a battle, actually just go back, you have 4 different types of warriors. I'm going to bring this out somewhere. So there's 4 types of warriors that you have in the game. They are all color coded. So the black cards, these are your warriors. These are the first level warriors, or the first level of your fighters. They can come out without any prerequisites. When they get 3 kill counters, which means they do battle with another fighter and they win. When they get 3 kill counters, you can sacrifice that warrior, send it over to your graveyard, and you can put out an elite warrior from your hand. The elite warrior is a silver looking card, has a different image on it. When the elite warrior has 5 counters, you can sacrifice that one and deploy a warlord. Warlord is a red colored card, has another different picture on it, stronger effect, stronger power, and so forth. When the warlord has 7 counters, let's get one more, and you have a elite warrior and a warlord on your side of the field, or a warrior, elite warrior, and a warlord on your side of the field, and the warlord has 7 counters. You move the counters, you tribute all 3 of them, and you bring out your legendary warrior, which is kind of a white, like bright silver colored card. Has a different picture of course. It says legendary warrior, stronger effects, stronger power, stronger attack and rest. Okay. For tactic cards play in your back row. When they play them from your hand, they are played face down. You cannot use them the same turn that you put them on the field. After that turn is over, during any player's turn, in any phase, you can activate that trap card or that tactic card and use that card's effect. Some of these are continuous, some of these are one-time use. If it is continuous, then it will say right here at the very beginning, continuous effect. Equipment cards. Equipment cards can be played face down on your back row, and then you can use them on another turn, or they can play face up, but only during your turn can you activate them. If the equipment card is played face down, you cannot activate it that same turn. Well, actually you can. Or if they play face down, you cannot activate it on your opponent's turn. You can only flip it face up and activate it on your turn. Some of them also have a continuous effect. Some of them are one-time use. After you play it, then it goes away. One thing about equipment cards is that you cannot play them during the battle phase. You can only play them during your first or second main phase only. Then your battlefield cards. So So battlefield cards are going to appear on the side. These ones stay on the field until they're destroyed, or you remove them and put another battlefield in play. Only one battlefield can be on the field at any time. If you have one out and your opponent puts one out, then yours gets destroyed and theirs stays. If you have a battlefield out and you want to replace it with another battlefield, you simply remove that battlefield and you put a new one in its place. Battlefield cards, some of them will benefit both players or affect both players. Any battlefield card that requires a cost can only be activated on the turn of the person who controls the battlefield, unless it otherwise says so, but can only be activated by the person who controls that battlefield. Which means if there's a cost to, for example, Pyramid of the Sun, to pay 200 soul points and deploy a second Aztec warrior, and your opponent is playing Aztec warrior, they cannot use that effect. Plus, any effect that has a cost can only be used that one time, only one time per turn. You cannot stack the effects and use them 3, 4, 5 multiple times. Only one time per turn. In a battle situation, if two fighters are facing off against each other, when you deploy your fighters will always come into attack position. They are never deployed face down. They are never deployed in horizontal, which is rest position. They always are deployed from your hand in face up attack position, unless otherwise stated on the card. Now, if two fighters are attacking each other and they are both in attack position, it is attack value versus attack value. Whichever one has the highest attack value will remain on the field, and the owner of the person or owner of the fighter card that was destroyed will take the difference in damage. For example, Asakura Kagetoshi, she is 1400 attack, where Hansuk is 1200 attack. If Asakura attacks Hansuk, because you have to target which fighter you want to attack before hitting the player. If I attack him, Hansuk will die. I will get a kill counter. My now switches over to rest position, and my opponent loses 200 life points because of the difference between 1400 and 1200, and I gain 200 life points. So when it's attack position versus attack position, it's attack value versus attack value. Now, if you have a fighter that is in rest position and I attack that fighter, if my attack is the same as the rest value, nothing happens, no life is lost on either side or gained on either side, and no creature is destroyed, which means no kill counters are coming to play. If my attack value is lower, which in this case it is, this is 1500, this is 1400, if I attack, the attacking fighter does not get destroyed. However, the attacking fighter's controller, which is that player, loses life equal to the difference in the rest point and to the attack value. So if my attack value is 14 and this rest is 15, I will lose 100 and my opponent will gain 100. In order to destroy a rest position fighter, your attack value must be higher than the rest value of that fighter. If this is 15 and this was 16, if I attack, then this one will destroy. I go into rest position, I gain my kill counter. But because the fighter that I destroyed was in rest position, no life is lost from the controller of the destroyed fighter, unless otherwise specified on the card, like for example any kind of piercing damage. But by default, there is no life lost. Your phases for each turn, it starts off draw phase, where you draw your card. Okay, so let's go back here a little bit. So you draw phase, where you draw your card. Okay. If you have any fighters that are in rest position after your draw phase, this is your ready phase, which means you switch them back to attack positions, ready to go for battle. Then you have your main phase 1, where you can go ahead and deploy one warrior or one fighter card per main phase or per turn. Deploy your battlefield card if you so choose to, and you can deploy as many tactic and equip cards as you like to do so from your hand up to the maximum number that you can play, which is 6. Then you have your battle phase where your warriors do their attack. After their attack is over, if they are still alive, then they go into rest position. If there's any kill counters to be received, you add those kill counters to those fighters, and then you go into your main phase 2. Main phase 2, if you haven't played any fighter this turn, or if you haven't played any other card that you want to get from out of your hand, you can put them down the field, activate any equipment and tactic cards that you already had in play that you can activate, or you can end your phase, which is your end phase, your end turn, and then your opponent takes their turn. Okay. So for the most part, that is the majority of the rules for the game. There are other rules that are listed inside of the rule book as well. One special rule that I do want to add on here is in regards to a mulligan rule. So which means if when you first start the game, I'm going to put these back in here. So when you first start your game, you shuffle your decks. Okay, shuffle your decks. Each player cuts the other player's deck, and then each player draws 5 cards. Before you roll to see who goes first, or you start the game, you look at your hand. If your hand has either none or only one warrior, which is a black card, basically if you have less than 2 warrior cards in your hand, in your first hand, that is a mulligan. In which case, you can you show your hand to your partner or to your opponent, take the whole hand, you put it back in your deck, reshuffle again, and draw 5 more cards. Take a look at your hand again. If your hand still doesn't have at least 2 warriors, like in this case it doesn't, like 2 regular warriors which are black cards, then you can take one last mulligan. You can only take a mulligan twice. Let's see if I get a good hand this time. Now, after the second time you've taken a mulligan, if your hand is still not good, you are stuck with that hand. In this case, my hand was good. I got 2 warriors, 2 elite warriors, and a warlord. It's not a great hand, but I still have the 2 warrior requirement in order for me to have a decent hand. Okay, that's your mulligan rule. You can only do it 2 times. Now, if your opponent says that they're going to take a mulligan, you can partake on that mulligan if you don't like your hand. However, that mulligan that you take of theirs still counts towards your own mulligan, which means you could still only take 1 more mulligan if your hand that you drew after taking their mulligan is still no good and you take a mulligan. Which means that still counts towards yours. Last thing, in a multiplayer game, which means multiplayer being 3 people or higher, there is a no elimination rule due to life points that's established, which that means that if one player in a 3 or 4 or any higher player game reaches 0, they are not eliminated from the battle. They are still in the game. However, it makes no sense to attack them because you will not draw any life from them. Every player can only basically sacrifice up to 8,000 life points or 8,000 soul points. If a player has 100 soul points left and you do 1,000 damage, you gain only 100 soul points because that's all they had left. Now, the only way in a multiplayer game, or a game where you have more than 3 people or 3 or more people playing, only way for a player to be completely eliminated from the rest of that game is for that player to no longer be able to draw cards from their deck. If they cannot draw from the deck, then they are eliminated from the game. Okay? Even if they have life points remaining, those life points basically become null and void. The game continues with the rest of the players who are still able to draw from their decks. So I hope that these rules are sufficient enough for you to understand how to play the game. of course, finding us at any of the conventions and demoing the game is probably the best way to play it. Or I'll be sending these out to Indie Game Alliance, so that if you're one of their minions, you can actually pick up a game from them pretty soon. Thank you again for watching.